Hello everyone and welcome back, or welcome. If you're new here, my name is Matt, and in today's video we're gonna be doing some cozy, relaxing, calming plant care. This is a perfect video to put on in the background while you're doing your own plant care, cooking, cleaning, folding laundry, whatever you have to do. Let me keep you company and let's do our chores together, because doing stuff together is obviously always a lot more fun. So put me on in the background, let me yap on, and let's keep each other company. I have been feeling a little bit stressed lately, and in order to cope with that, I thought I would just do some really lovely, nice, relaxing plant care. And I was thinking like what kind of plant care I could do, and I think wiping down leaves, checking my plants over, giving them a little bit of a spa day is just the thing that I need to completely relax and ease my anxieties. So that is exactly what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to be grabbing some plants that I think could use a little bit of a wipe down, and we're just gonna get them looking nice and clean. I will also be sharing some tips and tricks with you on how I keep my collection looking nice and clean overall. So without further ado, grab your own tasks, grab yourself a cozy little drink, and let's get going. Oh God, she's heavy. Oh, there we go. Whew. I have some cast-style tea tree soap and peppermint soap mixed up with some warm water, and this is the mixture that I'm gonna be using to clean the leaves and give them a nice little scrubby scrub down. Hello, can you see me? So I decided to start off with my bird of paradise, because this is a plant that I sometimes neglect. It's not a plant that requires a lot of frequent care, but it is one that I do like to kind of look at from time to time and give these leaves a good wipe over, because they do tend to collect quite a bit of dust. And more than that, she has been living next to a plant that actually had spider mites, not like a giant infestation. It really wasn't anything bad, but I want to give her a nice little wipe down. This plant definitely deserves some love and TLC. So yeah, I thought it would be a great start to this video. Plus this is a plant that I don't often showcase on my channel, because honestly she doesn't do much most of the time. She lives under a 36-watt Sansi light, and that light is bright. That light is bright as daylight. I mean, not as daylight, but you know, it's a pretty damn bright grow light. Now she hasn't been under that grow light for a large amount of time. I actually set that whole system up maybe a couple of weeks ago, so we are still kind of in the trial and error process and seeing if it will work, because this plant relies only on artificial light. Like, I'm not giving this plant any natural light whatsoever. She's in a dark corner, but she has that light shining from the top, and we will just see how that will do long term. Obviously, bird of paradise is a type of plant that can withstand like full sun. These grow outside and get blasted by heat, but yeah, I just don't have enough natural light to provide for this plant, so I just have to substitute that natural light with some artificial light. But so far so good. I mean, I actually had this plant living outside 2 summers ago now, and she hated it. It was not good, and that's why she's actually still hasn't recovered from that whole ordeal, because she used to be like a lot bushier, a lot bigger, like she had a lot more leaves, but I had to cut off those leaves because, like I said, I moved her outside for the summer. Her leaves, they got burned, they got beaten and battered by the wind. You know, we have pretty severe winds here. Like, we didn't used to have pretty much any winds over here, but climate change is real, y'all. Climate change is real, and she is messing with all of us. So unfortunately, the wind really got to her, and these have really delicate leaves that rip very easily. And the sun got to her. I mean, part of it was my fault because I didn't acclimate the plant properly. I just basically placed it outside and hoped for the best, but the best did not come. The worst came, and she did not thrive. Let's say it how it is. But ever since she's back inside, she hasn't complained. Like, she's doing fine. I mean, obviously now it's winter, but she is pushing out. Like, she pushed out, this is a new leaf, and this is a new leaf, and then she also has this new leaf. So like, she's doing okay, I would say, for the most part. Is she gonna like thrive and flower indoors just under a grow light? Probably not. But honestly, that isn't even my like top priority. So I am pretty okay if this plant never even blooms for me. But it is a really cool plant that adds a bit of a jungly vibe. Also, I think she needs water. She's looking a little bit droopy swoopy, but yeah, that's something we can do later on. I'm just giving her a good wipe down, and I'm definitely also making sure to wipe down the stems, because this is where those pesky pests like to gather. They like to gather at the stems, in particular the connecting part where the stem meets the leaf. The conjunctions are where the pests like to have their little parties. So I'm just making sure to wipe her down, but honestly, I'm not seeing anything on her, which is great. Also, if you're wondering, I am wearing a glove just because my hands are very dry and very sensitive, very red at the moment, so I don't want to irritate them further. But yeah, bird of paradise, she is all clean, she's all nice. Let me check if she needs some water. She could use some water. So I'm gonna go ahead and give her some water, and then we can move on to the next plant. Next up, we have my philodendron Schoderoi, and this plant doesn't have any pests as far as I know. She sometimes gets thrips. I don't think I had spider mites on her, but she gets a lot of EFN, which are extra floral nectaries, and they aren't like bad for your plant. EFN is completely normal, it's completely natural, it's just kind of your plant's self-defense mechanism, I suppose. I don't think scientists know exactly what EFN is used for, but the most common theory is that it attracts ants in the wild, and then those ants come and eat the EFN, because that's basically sugar. So they use that for like their own food and stuff, and in return they protect plants from like nasty pests. However, I recently found out that mealybugs and ants also have like a symbiotic, is that how you say that word? Relationship where the mealybugs, they secrete honeydew, and then the ants come and eat that honeydew, and in return they protect the mealybugs. So that is just wild, and I hope I never have, like, I don't deal with mealybugs, luckily, whereas I don't have any wood over here, this is fake. But yeah, mealybugs, I don't know, from what I hear from like other people, mealybugs are even worse than thrips, because they seem to be really difficult to take care of and to eliminate. And I mean, I actually saw Melissa, Plants by Melissa, she was talking about it, and she had like issues with ants and with mealybugs. And then I did some Googling, and I was like, gagged. That is wild that they work together. Like, no thank you. Like, one pest is bad enough, but having like two of them working together, no, that's just no. And I mean, ants aren't a pest for your plants, like they're not gonna harm your plants, but honestly, the friends of my enemies are my enemies, okay? Because if you're gonna protect pests, then you gotta go. Then you gotta go, honey. And I had during the summer actually some ant issues. Weirdly enough, on my xoxo shelf, like they weren't attacking the plants that I had on the floor. They were attacking the plants up here on the xoxo shelf, and of course they were around philodendrons because philodendrons secrete this like sap, this nectar or whatever. And it was very bizarre why they were up on the shelf. Now, I didn't have like, it wasn't like a major issue, it was just like a couple of ants here and there and they just kind of disappeared. But yeah, it's wild. I mean, we deal with so much stuff in this hobby and ants are just one of those things that I don't need. I don't like ants. I know that they are very, very beneficial. I know that they are nature's hardest little workers, but honestly, ants can go to hell. I don't like them. I don't like them, don't like seeing them in my house. We actually had an ant infestation downstairs in our house like a couple of years ago, and that was like wild because they would just appear out of nowhere and it was just, oh my God, it was such a pain. And like, God forbid you drop one crumb of food on the floor. It's over. It is over. So yeah, ants are not fun. But in nature, they are useful because they protect the plants from other predators. Or so they say. However, EFN in our homes doesn't really have that same effect. And also it just burns the leaves. It burns the leaves. It leaves like nasty little marks on the leaves. So I tried to wash it off, but honestly, philodendrons are just known for having a lot of EFN, some more than others. I have some philodendrons that don't produce pretty much any EFN. And then I just have some that are EFN producing machines. And the Soderoy, like she doesn't have a lot of EFN, but she does get EFN. And then it's just like, it just ruins the leaves. And I'm like, why are we doing that? But yeah, she is done. She is all clean and wiped down. This is a plant that lives in semi-hydro. And I find that for my more difficult plants, in particular my more difficult philodendrons, semi-hydro has been a really, really good solution. Now she is starting to like slowly size up. I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but this leaf is a little bit larger than this one, and these were both grown in semi-hydro. So I hope she will just continue this upwards trajectory and grow even bigger, because this plant used to be pretty big. Like it used to have like this size of leaf, I would say, and then it tanked. It went down south and I chopped it, and after that it was just giving me a lot of like these small leaves. And this is definitely one that doesn't size up as fast as, for example, Glorious does. Or like a Splendid. I have a Splendid that grew from like a tiny baby to a like decent medium-sized plant. But yeah, anyways, Soderoy, she is done. She doesn't need any water because she is in semi-hydro. Her moss pole is well hydrated. Also, she has some stunning roots in the moss pole that is beautiful. I love looking at these like red fuzzy roots. So satisfying. You can see over here some of that previous thrips damage. This is one of the older leaves, and this kind of like coppery patchy coloring, that is like 9 times out of 10 that is thrips. But I haven't seen any thrips on this plant for quite a while, so fingers crossed they're gone. Fingers crossed they're gone. Next up is this cutie over here. This is my Alocasia dragon scale, and I can just see like a few little specks and pieces of dust. So I just really want to go ahead and clean her. This is a plant that even if she does have pests, she's very, very resilient. She just pushed out this gorgeous big new leaf. She is also in semi-hydro, doing amazing, and actually her reservoir is kind of low, so I will have to fill that up later. But yeah, this is a pretty resilient plant, and although she has like some, browning edges and tips and stuff like that, honestly, this is a pretty hardy plant. If you need like a hardy, really pretty Alocasia, I definitely recommend the Silver Dragon, the Dragon Scale. Honestly, all of these Alocasias that are kind of like thicker, they are usually pretty hardy. How have you guys been doing? I hope you're doing fine. Obviously, a lot of crazy stuff is going on in the world all the time, and it can be quite overwhelming. But honestly, whenever I just need to unwind or relax, I love to watch YouTube. I love watching plant videos. I talk about it all the time. And recently I have been really enjoying Jungle Haven's videos because she actually moved recently, Claire from Jungle Haven. In general, I mean, I love her content. Like, she's one of those YouTubers that whenever she uploads, I'm there, I'm watching from start to finish, the whole thing. And she recently bought like a house with her partner, and it has been so lovely to just see a planty creator, a planty person being successful with this hobby and with YouTube, and, you know, buying a house. I mean, buying a house in this current market is hard as is, but for somebody who's like self-employed and, you know, does something so niche as plant care for their job, I mean, that is truly amazing. She's such a hard worker, and I really appreciate her videos. So I'm so happy for her. She looks so happy, and obviously, I mean, her dog is also super, super cute and happy. She also has a lot more space now. So that just makes me really, really excited to watch other YouTubers thrive and be successful. It also kind of motivates me to, you know, keep going and keep doing this thing. And another thing that definitely motivates me is when you guys leave comments. I mean, you guys always leave the sweetest comments ever, and it always makes my day. Like, no kidding. You guys just, and there are some of you that literally constantly leave comments on every single video, and I'm so appreciative of you. Like, you don't even know how much you do for like my just general mental well-being. So thank you so much for watching my videos, commenting, subscribing. It truly means the world. Like, the last few videos actually weren't performing that great. Like, the views for some reason just weren't, you know, they weren't as much as I used to get before. And that's like, and I got in my head for 5 seconds, and I was just like, no, I'm not gonna go there. I don't care about the views. I do not care about the numbers. I'm not doing this for the numbers. I'm doing this mainly for myself, for my well-being, because it's just a fun little hobby, and I'm learning so much. I'm learning how to film. I'm learning how to edit. I'm learning how to communicate better. Like, my English, I feel like, is improving with every single video, because watching yourself back while editing really, you know, shines a light on kind of your speech patterns or how you talk. Because in general, in my day-to-day life, I don't use English as my main form of communication. I use it sometimes, but not to this extent, and usually it's more in written form and not really in spoken form. So this is also, you know, improving my English, which is truly, truly great. So yeah. But that being said, if you do want to support me, definitely don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and share with a friend who maybe also could use some cozy content. But don't worry, I'll definitely continue to do this regardless of the numbers, because numbers don't really matter to me that much. However, of course, if they were higher, that would be great. So I'm just gonna go ahead and also wipe down her pot a little bit, just because, why not? We are already here, so might as well give her a little bit of a wipe down. There we go, Silver Dragon Alocasia, such a cutie patootie. I love her, and also she just lives under my like cheap Amazon grow lights. So she's doing pretty well under them, but I don't know what I will do with this plant once she outgrows that space. Honestly, I don't know what I will do with the majority of my plants, because, you know, when they're cute and they can fit on a shelf, obviously the shelves work great, but plants grow and they will certainly outgrow this space. in like maybe even a year, and then we will have problems, but that is a problem for future Matt, and I'm sure to tackle that on camera as well. I'm really excited for like the upcoming spring season and all of the fun spring and summer content to come. This next one is like probably one of my favorite plants in my collection. It is my philodendron El Guapo SP Silver, whatever the hell it is named these days. And I mean, I just love this plant. The ruffled leaves, the gorgeous coloring. I mean, it is such a stunning, beautiful plant, and I love her. She lives like in front of my east-facing window, but she doesn't get any morning sun in the winter because the sun is too low and is actually getting blocked by the neighbor's house. But during the summer, when the sun is going to be higher in the sky, she will actually be getting some nice morning sun. Now, these don't really even need a lot of sun because they tend to bleach under a lot of sun. And I feel like that is kind of a universal experience with this plant. I feel like a lot of people who grow this plant also say that there's bleaches under like a certain amount of light. So I would say to keep this one, I mean, ideally under bright indirect light. Good God, don't we love that term? But truly, she likes a lot of light, but not direct sunlight, I think. Because if you don't give her like light, or if you put her in the dark corner, then obviously she won't be able to give you those like gorgeous, beautiful, stunning leaves. I found a thrips the other day on this one, just like a juvenile little baby, and it was literally just like one thrips, which is very bizarre. Usually there's like at least a couple, but it was just a tiny little baby thrips, just, you know, mingling around, and I don't see any more right now, which is obviously great. Also, she is very well rooted in her pot. I find that this is a pretty good rooter, and she has a pretty good root system. She also has a lot of roots in her pole. I find with some philodendrons that they have pretty like spindly and weak root systems, but this one seems to be pretty hardy on the whole. Over here you can see another very classic example of thrip damage. These like pale lines, it looks like somebody has like kind of burrowed under the leaf, which is exactly what thrips do. They lay their eggs in the plant tissue, and then they kind of eat the plant from the inside. And once, you know, the larvae is old enough, that's when they kind of come out and start eating the plant and reproducing and growing and doing stuff that we don't want them to do. But like I said, I gave this plant a good shock collar, and I'm not seeing any active thrips on it right now, so hopefully it stays that way. If I do start noticing thrips on this plant and them not going away, then I will go in with an actual like pesticide. It's never my first choice to go in with the pesticide, just because it isn't good for me, it's not good for the plant, it's not good for the environment. So I try to go the natural route first, but honestly, some pests are just stubborn. Like, I feel like I can get rid of spider mites the natural way, but for thrips, sometimes it works and sometimes it just doesn't. It just depends on the general health of the plant at the end of the day, I suppose, because a healthy, well-maintained plant like that has a good root system, has big healthy leaves. Obviously that plant will be a lot more resilient to attacks from pests. So even if a pest lands on it, it like might not have the actual chance to, you know, feast on the plant. But it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell because sometimes pests just don't go away. So in cases where I find thrips, if it's not like a bad infestation, I usually go in with something like this, or I shower it off, or I give it like a good spray down. But if it continues to happen and if it continues to come back, then I go in with the insecticidal solution just because, or with the pesticide, just because I don't want it to A, spread, and I don't want it to, you know, kill my plant. I would rather catch it in time and deal with it in a timely manner than, you know, let it escalate and get out of hand, because that's mostly how pest infestations happen. Like, I am on the whole pretty good at showering my plants and, you know, giving them frequent spray downs, especially in the summer. During the winter I get a little bit more relaxed because it's a bit harder for me to shower and wash my plants, but I have a gorgeous outdoor space and I have a hose and everything. So usually during the summer I will take my plants, honestly, at least once a month outside. For my more pest prone plants, I will even take those outside twice during the month during the summer, because, you know, the summer is warm and I can just shower them off outside with some nice water and really leave them outside to dry and stuff. And I shower them, like I hose them down, I give them a really good shower. So yeah, that has been a pretty effective way of keeping pests at bay. Knock on wood, because you never know, pests can always happen, and it's just part of the hobby. I always say it, it's just part of the hobby, and you just gotta deal with it. When it arises, you just put on your big boy pants or your big girl pants and you deal with it. I want to circle back to like things that I watch, because I actually recently finished watching Apple Cider Vinegar, the new Netflix show, or I guess newish Netflix show. It's based on a true story of like a health influencer who faked her brain cancer to gain, you know, sympathy and money, fame, whatnot. Like, it was wild. I was thoroughly entertained. It was a really good show. It was really good writing, editing. The cinematography was really great. So I really enjoyed it. The acting, oh my God, that like the main actress who played Belle Gibson. I'm so sorry, I don't know her name, but I'm so bad at actors. I don't know a single actor by name. I don't. I'm not that kind of person. But anyway, she did such a fabulous job. Like, I believed her. Like, I thought she was that person. So yeah, that show was great and very kind of eye-opening to our health culture, and how a lot of people, you know, they kind of go overboard, in my opinion. But, you know, to each their own. If it makes you happy, you do you. I am of the general belief that we only live once, and we should definitely live like a healthy, fulfilled lifestyle. But also, if I want to eat a pizza or ice cream, I am not going to stop myself, and I am most definitely not going to judge myself over it. At the end of the day, it's just food, and honestly, food makes me very happy. SP Silver, SP Columbia, El Guapo, whatever you want to call her, she is done and she is looking magnificent. I love this plant so much. Also, I love the cover pot that I have her in. She is so cute. This is from PLNTS. It's called the Stew Pot, I believe. And I love her so much. She's so adorable. She is actually working on a brand new leaf right now, and I'm so excited to see how big it will be, because she is looking pretty chunky. Like, she has a very chunky stem, and that petiole also seems to be pretty chunky. So hopefully it's gonna be a big one. Next up, we have my baby, my stunning diva, my Albo Monstera. I absolutely love this plant. She is gorgeous. Okay, I'm gonna have a bit of a hard time getting her out of her pot. Oh God, she's heavy. But yeah, my Albo Monstera, absolutely apple of my eye. I love her so much. But since this is a Monstera, and I talked a lot about thrips in this video, and in general thrips is kind of my kryptonite, she does have thrips. I don't know if she has like an active infestation right now. I hope not. I haven't checked her in a while, but this is a plant. I mean, Monsteras are just known as thrips magnets. Philodendrons and monsteras I feel like are the biggest thrips offenders in my household, and I kind of always assume that my monsteras and my philodendron have thrips, so it's just kind of a given that at any point these plants probably have some kind of thrips infestation. And particularly on the variegated monsteras, it is so hard to see because obviously they are variegated and they have this kind of splotchy, marbly coloring. So sometimes it can be hard to spot thrips. Now, I'm not seeing any right now, which is fabulous, but again, that doesn't mean that they are not here, and regardless of that, I will still give them a good wipe over, and I will also trim some of these browning leaves because we don't need that. Obviously, the brown parts or the white parts don't contain any chlorophyll, so they just die off. And also, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I underwater this plant like crazy. I watered it the other day and it was bone dry. It was insanity. But yeah, this is a pretty hardy monstera or a plant in general. However, she's giving me like these dinky little leaves at the top, and I do think I'm gonna be chopping her pretty soon. Like I want to take some cuttings, maybe plant them back into the pot, or like start a new plant, maybe even in semi-hydro to see how well they will grow. Because again, Plants by Melissa, she actually has some monsteras growing in pond and she swears by it, and she says that her monsteras grow like crazy. And honestly, whatever that girl recommends, I will do, because her plants are insane. Like her plants are so gorgeous and stunning, and I'm like, oh my God, I wish I had her collection. But yeah, anyways, that aside, she is gonna get a nice cleanup and hopefully she's gonna be looking a lot more stunning. Also, I have another project coming up with this plant that you will be seeing probably next Friday. So watch out for that video. We're gonna be doing something fun with this plant, you will see. So yeah, but for now, let's go ahead and grab the scissors and clean her up. This plant is just so freaking gorgeous, like this marbly variegation. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? How can you be so beautiful? Why are you so beautiful? I love her so much. Obviously, highly variegated plants just have more of a tendency to brown off their variegated parts. And you know, underwatering your plants doesn't help either. So if you want to keep the white parts of the leaves intact for as long as possible, make sure it gets a lot of good light, and make sure you keep up with watering. I find that drying out actually speeds up the process of the white parts browning. So yeah, just make sure you keep up with water, and obviously give them lots and lots of light, because these white parts don't contain any chlorophyll, so they are really not useful for the plant. So she just needs to get her resources from the rest of the leaf. I trimmed her up and she is already looking so much better. So now we're just gonna go ahead and give her a good wipe down. And I also find that thrips really like to gather on the stem of this plant. Again, in particular on the spots where the petiole actually meets the stem. So I definitely like to focus on that little area. Wipey, you gotta be a clean girl, because otherwise daddy's gonna be mad, and you don't want to make daddy mad, do you? No, you don't. You don't want to make daddy mad, because when daddy is mad, he fantasizes about throwing you in the trash. So be a good little girly and don't get them freaking thrips, alright? Let me know in the comment section below if you are struggling with thrips and what you are doing to deal with them. If you are struggling with thrips, I know a lot of you are from the US and you have access to systemic granulates that you can put in your soil, and it works like a systemic pesticide that like works from within and kills the little larvae while they eat the plant. However, over here in Europe and in my country, we don't have that. We don't have access to like these hardcore chemicals. It is forbidden by the law. So yeah, we have to use pretty much just what nature gives us, which sometimes is unfortunate, but oh well, you gotta make do with what you have. That's the reality of living in the world. Come on. There we go. She is done, looking stunning. And on that note, I'm also done because my back is killing me. Doesn't she just look freaking beautiful? I love this plant and I really like my specimen and the amount of irrigation I have on her. But yeah, anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Leave me a nice little comment down below. Let me know if you had any chores. Let me know how your day is going. Let me know what shows you're watching. Like if you have any kind of show recommendations, I would love to hear about those because I love watching a good show. I hope you have a super fabulous, amazing day. Remember to be kind to yourself. I love you and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.